The House of Representatives is investigating the alleged stealing of $17 billion of undeclared crude oil and liquefied natural gas exports to global destinations. The ad hoc committee, which began the investigative hearing during the week, invited the Minister of Justice, government officials and bank MDs to unravel how such massive fraud was executed.
The Nigerian oil sector is one industry that has been the focus of numerous inquiries and investigations. This ad hoc committee, House of Representatives, is investigating allegations that $17 billion of undeclared crude oil and liquefied natural gas exports to global destinations were stolen. The chairman of the ad hoc committee outlines the scale of the investigation.
Reports have it that over 57 million barrels of Nigerian crude oil were illegally exported and sold in the USA between January 2011 and December 2014. The estimated revenue loss by the government of Nigeria is around $12 billion at an exchange rate of 196 naira to a dollar. This translates to over 2 trillion. You could imagine what the value it is at the moment.
It is now time to hear from government agencies, but only 3 of them are present.
I mentioned Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, NEITI. Anybody? Office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Molecular Power System Limited.
The lawmakers are not pleased with this development.
In the legislative arm, we have promised as part of our 8th legislative agenda to actually support this government to fight corruption. And we accept government agencies should also complement the government by doing the needful.
The committee was forced to adjourn its sitting to the next day. On day 2 of the probe, officials of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation are the first to speak. But after over 2 hours of back and forth between the lawmakers and the officials, this happens.
And then, rising from that is the fact that they haven't given any answers. All their answers are in abeyance because there are no figures reliable. So let's be clear on that they haven't given any answers so far, including account names and account numbers and all that. So everything is in abeyance.
Nobody in this country has a monopoly of patriotism. All right, it is very unfair to have people on the other side because you sit on a higher pedestal, begin to castigate people and impugn their integrity and their motives. It is not fair. That is what the honorable gentleman has just done, sir. He said we came here, we didn't answer any questions, we were prevaricating. What have we been doing here? It is not fair, sir.
The House has given the agency a list of questions to return with answers to. Speaking on the matter, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation says there are ongoing court cases on the matter between the federal government and some oil companies. He then speaks on what the country must do to get things right.
Before the National Assembly is a Proceeds of Crime Act that has a greater effect of tackling corruption in the nation and its institutions. It is really sad and unfortunate that while we were contesting about uniform, we have not taken our time to address the passage of the relevant bills that have a greater impact on the fight against corruption.
The lawmakers say they are working on some of these bills and are committed to ensuring that the bills are passed. Past investigations into matters such as this have remained inconclusive. Expectation will be that this investigation will succeed where others have failed. Meanwhile, the chairman of the House of Representatives ad hoc committee investigating allegations of corruption, malpractices and breach of due process in the award of oil prospecting license 245 says the committee is considering inviting former President Goodluck Jonathan to give evidence before the committee. In a statement, the committee chairman, Representative Razak Atunwa, points out that the committee is aware of recent information that have come to light, both nationally and internationally, indicating that former President Goodluck Jonathan may have been complicit in the controversial OPL 245 deal. The committee is also closely monitoring the proceedings in the Italian courts instituted by the public prosecutor of Milan, in which ministers in Jonathan administration were mentioned, including President Jonathan himself. These facts have firmly placed former President Goodluck Jonathan on the committee's radar.
Let's take a look at more activities in the National Assembly during the week.
The Senate is working on a bill to regulate the use of the armed forces of Nigeria in internal security operations in the country. The bill, which was sponsored by Senator David Umaru, seeks to provide a legal framework for the deployment and use of armed forces for collaborative or joint security operations between the military and other civil security authorities in the country. Speaking to journalists in the National Assembly, Senator Umaru says the absence of this legislation by the National Assembly has led to a number of military misadventures with huge civilian casualties.
The reason behind this bill is as a result of the experiences that we have had in situations whereby the military particularly was used to take care of certain internal security challenges that we have had. And the result had always been, like you and me know, very unfortunate, because if you look at the issue of the problem of Zaki Biam, the result was not pleasant, if you do remember. OD, the same thing. Particularly section 217 of the Constitution, 217, which actually establishes the armed forces of the Federation to be the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. Section 217C, particularly, makes the use of the military in addressing internal security matters to be within their function. But at the same time, that same paragraph C states that subject to the act of the National Assembly. So that is where we are coming from. This power enabled by the Constitution under section 217C, that we can make laws to regulate the use of the military in internal security matters.
In a bid to unravel the exact circumstances that led to the death of 3 students of Queen's College, Yaba, Lagos, the House of Representatives has summoned the Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewole, the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu Adamu, to appear before its Committee on Health. This followed a motion on the matter sponsored by the House Majority Leader, Rep. Femi Gbajabiamila, in which he informed the House that the reported epidemic in the school is also said to have affected 1,222 people. The House has also urged the Minister of Health to take all necessary steps to forestall future occurrences. The Minister of Health is also to ensure that adequate medical attention is made available to save the lives of the students now hospitalized. Meanwhile, the Spanish ambassador to Nigeria has welcomed the opportunity to promote stronger diplomatic and business ties between Nigeria and Spain. The ambassador was speaking in Abuja during a meeting with members of the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Nigeria-Spain relations. The chairman of the Ad Hoc Committee said the Parliament is seeking better relations with the Spanish government to promote ease of doing business and, so doing, enhance the well-being of citizens of both countries.
Our terms of reference, including among others, to facilitate bilateral parliamentary ties between our two countries, so as to impact positively on all other sectors, such as investments in oil and gas. I repeat again, you mentioned it when we were informally discussing. Agriculture, solid minerals, energy, sports development, culture and tourism by engaging business entrepreneurs in those sectors from Spain, and also promote advocacy to enhance the overall well-being of Nigeria and Spain through the instrument of parliament.
I think are basic. I mean, As I said before, I think the parliaments play a very important role in society. You represent, each one of you, some Nigerian nationals of certain circumscriptions, and I think it's the responsibility of the parliamentarians to take their interest into the laws, into the political action, because you have a very special responsibility for that.